Okay, so 10 moves, 10 minutes. Hand out to the side, elbow rocking down, moving on to the forearm, counterbalancing with the other arm, but we're going to stay down. Arms into a nice cactus shape, legs bent, and just drop the knees side to side to just warm up the middle area of the body. Side to side, let the rest of your body do what it wants to do. If it wants to lift up through the side of the chest to counterbalance the knees, that's fine. Just enjoy the movement side to side. Okay, Chaco. Side to side, just really enjoy that. The only thing we really want is the elbows and the forearms to stay on the ground. All right, Chocs, I see ya. Okay, now you're in the way. So legs back down straight, and we're going to come up the same way we came down. So planting onto the forearm and back up, elbow sitting. And then coming into cross leg, whichever shin is in front, twist the body to the other side, lean into the hands, lift the bottom and uncurl, pivoting on the feet. Whichever way you've turned, lean onto that dominant hand. Flex toes, lift the knees off slightly to turn back round. Do that a couple of times. Pause the video if you need to do it on both sides. I'll swivel around so you can see. Cross the legs the other way and make sure whichever shin is in front, you turn to the other side. Lean into the hands to lift the bottom. Pivot on the balls of the feet to the knee hand position and back round. And then we're going to come up and stay in knee hand this time. And so nice knee hand rocking. You can tuck the toes and untuck the toes, remembering to have a lovely long tall spine, neck in line with the spine, so looking ahead of the hands, tucking and untucking the toes as you go. And just enjoying getting a bit more movement into the balls of the feet, but also just weight bearing slightly onto the hands, onto the wrists and through the shoulders. And now tuck the toes and walking the hands back as we've done before, pushing into the ground to lift the knees, keeping a nice tall spine up into the hip hinge position, and then unhinge the body and then back down again. So hinge at the hips, the bottom travels behind the heels, weight in the heels, bend the knees, lowering back down and walking out. One more time, back up, hands close to the knees, pushing so that you can lift up, keeping a nice posture throughout. Hip hinge, knee bend and decelerate the movement. Go nice and slowly and with lots of control. Now we're going to move to hip shifting. So remembering that we come into a nice kneeling position, and then I'll show you from the front. Lean one hand out and just start walking forwards into knee hand, walking round to shift so that your bottom is to the side of your heels. Lifting again up into that hand, up and round, and dropping the bottom on the other side of the heels. So it's a 180-degree arc, up and round. And then keep up with this a few times and then start to limit the movement, the paces of the hands, so that you're lifting up and over the heels. Turn to the side so that you can see that. Starting with moving right out to knee hand. And we want to end by lifting up through that hand and shifting the bottom over the heels until we come down to the other sides. And just do that also a few times. Lifting up and lowering down. And feeling that movement particularly in the pelvic bones and the sacroiliac joints. Side to side, but also really good for the knees. And now back to the centre and kneeling. Hinge at the hips and pinch those fingers. At the same time, fire the glutes to lift up nice and slowly into tall kneeling position. Back down by sticking the bottom out, pinching the fingers by a hip hinge and lowering back down until you're sitting. And just do that a few times. Feel the fire. Tilt the pelvis slightly forward when you're up to get a nice stretch in the hip flexors. And then pinch to come down again. And now we're going to stay up in tall kneeling and create the tall half kneeling to standing movement. So facing the front so you can see, remembering that we have to lean onto one knee, nice tension through the core, relaxed in the upper body, because we're actually now balancing, pushing down through that shin on the leaning side to then slowly as possible bring the foot through. You can either drag it along the ground to start with or try to aim to lift it through and back again. And try and do this again, lean to the other side, to do the other side. Might feel a bit wibbly wobbly, that's absolutely fine. Woo, she says, and lean back again. Nice and relaxed. The more relaxed you are on the upper body, the easier it will be. And back again, over to the other side, and back again. And you'll really feel your core having to work here to keep you balanced and to lift the weight of that leg through. And now we're going to add on. So leaning to one side and try and do this as slowly as you can. Tuck the back toe, pushing into the front and the back heel to stand straight up and then push forward to standing. The main thing being as upright as you possibly can the whole way through. Back with the same foot. Heel is up at the back to lower the knees down with control to that nice 90-degree pattern. Untap the back toe and bring the leg through. And don't fall over. Lean onto the other side. Leg through. Tuck that back toe again. Pushing straight up to standing. And then stepping forward in this nice two-part move. And back down. And again, do a few repetitions of this. And this, we're going to come back up to standing to do a little bit of balancing. Standing up. And in the same way, leaning the weight into the heel nice and deeply, we have to shift our weight over to the side slightly, and then we start off with the clocks. Counterbalancing with the upper body, breathing nice and calmly, relaxed in the upper body, but nice necessary tension in the centre and the standing leg to keep us up. And do that a few times, and then over to the other side. Are you breathing? And are you smiling? It takes concentration to balance, so I don't always expect a smile. Okay, foot back in. And then another version is slightly more challenging, leaning onto the first foot, lifting the knee up and waggling the leg around. You can go in front, in which case the upper body counterbalances behind, to the side, as you can see, tilting over, or you can lift it up behind you. But what we're trying to do is get that nice stability through the standing foot and ankle, and obviously hugely hip strengthening to be stood on one leg. So just circling around, you can tip forward, try and touch down, and then same on the other leg. Set yourself first, breathe, relax in position, and then off you go. Round and round. Your arms may want to fly up, which is absolutely fine, but try for the rest of the time to counterbalance with the upper body. Leaning back and forward and all over. And then finally, the split squat. 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, back heel raised, and we concertina down by bending the knees and having that nice hinge in the hips, pushing up, swap over, back heel up, bending right down with the weight as central as we can, lifting as centrally as we can and lowering as centrally as we can. And do a few repetitions of this, tie the shoelace and then come back up.